What's up, Street Scores family? It's your boy Rico bringing y'all another film session. This time it's Tim Settle, defensive lineman out of Virginia Tech. There's a lot of traits I'm going to be discussing, and I'm going to try to show y'all as few examples as possible, try to consolidate the points. But there's a lot of traits to talk about, and I want to make sure I get my point across. So this film session might run a little long, but let's get it. And to start this film session off right, I feel it's best we start with one of his more consistent traits. And that's his amazing ball get off. Watch how he is clearly the first person off the ball. Out of all of the defensive linemen, he's ahead by almost a yard. Clearly the first person on the D-line to move. 55 in front of him wasn't ready. Tim Settle was through the O-line before 55 could barely get out of his stance. And he's the one that's supposed to know the snap count. I just wish he used hands to get 55 off of him. That would have gave him a clear run at the ball carrier. But instead he's having to fight the entire way until he brings down the ball carrier for a loss of yards. This ball get off is crazy. And he makes the play. He started off with some hands against the center right here. But the center wasn't really trying to block him anyway. He's already looking at the next blocker, looking downfield. He should have used more hands on 55. He has a good angle on him. Just do a rip move or something to get this man off of you so you can have a clean tackle on this guy. Still made the play. I applaud him for making the sack. The ball get off is what really made the play. It's almost as if he knew the snap count how fast he was off this ball. As soon as the ball is hiked, Tim Settle is gone. A lot of the offensive linemen are still looking like the ball hasn't even been snapped and Tim Settle's already attacking. And because of that, he's right by the 55 without him even having a chance to really get hands on him. If he could have just used some hands to get him off of him and finish the play, this would have been a way easier tackle. But still, congratulations, Tim Settle. You made a great play. The hands weren't necessary, but it definitely would have helped. Another great example of ball get off. Tim Settle is right here, number 4. Playing this in slow motion so you can see the ball get off. He is clearly ahead. One of the first 2 D linemen to get off the ball as soon as the ball is snapped. Easy money for him. That's what he does. But we not here for that. I want to show y'all this power. Look at how he's manhandling this blocker in front of him. This blocker never stood a chance. Wasn't his best ball get off, but he was quick enough and he had a lot of power with it. Look at the way that the offensive lineman gets popped back. Look at this pop when they first engage. And then Tim Settle continues to bully him into the running back. Block unsuccessful. But again, I just wish Tim Settle used his hands here. Because if he would have attacked him like he did here, and then at this very moment used some hands to get him off of him, this would have been an easy stop in the backfield. Some violent hands would have changed the entire scenario of this play right here. All I want him to do is just get offensive linemen off of him. He has the amazing ball get off. He has a powerful punch in the beginning. I just need him to get people off of him so that he can make easier tackles in the backfield. He still made the stop, but he really just forced the running back to lose balance and then he fell on his own. I want Tim Settle to get the blocker off of him so he can make a wrapping tackle. Make sure this man is down. But with all of this going on, I like how he's able to take 2 gap responsibilities. He's on the outside shoulder of the guard blocking him right now. And as he sees the running back going to the inside shoulder of the guard, he moves to the inside shoulder, clogs it up, and makes the play. So I like the awareness and how he has his eyes in the backfield. I just want to see some more hands. It would make him a way more efficient penetrator in the backfield. But I'm mainly here to show y'all the power of this ball get off and how he made this offensive lineman stand up an extra 2 inches. This offensive lineman was on his toes at one point. Good power, great pad level. And then way to make a play even though it was a little unconventional. Tim Settle is located right here. And on this play, he doesn't have his best ball get off. The ball get off isn't bad, as you can see. He was a little slow, but it still wasn't bad. It just wasn't him. But watch how, even without his great ball get off, he is able to use his low pad level and power to win against number 55 on the line of scrimmage battle. Ball get off a little slow, but he's lower, more powerful, and has number 55 looking crazy trying to block him, getting hemmed up. I mean, like, why is he able to handle a 340-pound grown man named Tyrone Crowder like this? And the answer is low pad level and powerful ball get off. It wasn't the quickest ball get off, but he made sure he had a punch with it, and he kept driving his feet, extending his arms, and he won the battle. Now, I honestly want him to stop tussling with this man and showing who's the strongest, and then just get this man off of him and go make the play. Even though he's winning the strength battle and the line of scrimmage battle, the offensive lineman is happy with this result because he is still allowing himself to be blocked. Get this man off of you right here, just throw him away and go make the play. He didn't do that, so he wasn't involved in the play. Now, I like the power and the low pad level as far as traits, but if you're going to allow yourself to be blocked like this, they don't really matter. But Jim Tomsula can take this low pad level and strength, which is really hard to teach, and mold this man into a great defensive lineman. Just got to get his hands active. The reason I'm showing y'all this power is because this is very hard to teach. And even though Tim Settle isn't the perfect defensive lineman, I love the fact that he has the power that he has, because Jim Tomsula can take this power and mold Tim Settle into being a great defensive lineman. And it's especially hard to teach great ball get off. And I just want to show y'all this play just to show y'all how powerful Tim Settle can be when he wants to be. He's located right here. And I want to remind y'all that the center that he's about to battle against is on a number 2 nationally ranked team. This is not a scrub center. And look how much power he displays here. The line of scrimmage is at the 31-yard line and a half. Tim Settle has them all the way on the 25-yard line. That is pure power. And what's crazy is that he's doing it with one arm. This is one arm with all of this power. Again, I want him to use some violent hands to shed this block and then run through the running back and get a hit on the quarterback. But we here just to see his pure power now, y'all. Even after the blocker jumps his feet back right here and extends them back so he can reclaim some leverage and power, Settle still overpowers him and pushes him back even more. When an offensive lineman goes into this stance where they let themselves hop in the air and then they extend their legs, giving up some distance in the battle in order to win the overall war, they are attempting to reset their leverage. And even after this, Settle continues to win the power battle, to the point that the running back is like, let me help because I don't need my quarterback getting killed out here. Now I want to show y'all how he has some rare agility for his size. Tim Settle is located right here. He is currently located in the weak side A gap. And look at this agility. Whoop! Right there, look at that. There's not that many nose tackles that can move this agile in that amount of time without falling over. He went from the weak side A gap to the strong side B gap so smoothly. Granted, the offensive line did shift upward a little, but he still managed to swim around all of those bodies. Most defensive linemen can't do this, especially at 330 pounds. This is rare agility for somebody his size. Without falling over too. And if it weren't for Clemson having such a fast mobile quarterback, this would have been a nice tackle for loss. I'm not sure if this was a design stunt or not, but I like the fact that Tim Settle has the footwork to make this play happen. And if this quarterback did not have the awareness and mobility to squeeze through this little gap, this would have been a tackle for loss. So I like Tim Settle's agility and footwork here to actually even run this stunt or to swim across all of these bodies. He didn't come up with a tackle, but again, these are traits that Jim Tomsula can look at and mold a great defensive lineman off of. Here's another example showing his rare agility for his size and some decent balance. Because I'm going to tell y'all now, most defensive linemen, let alone somebody 330 pounds, would have survived a cut block like that. And he made the play. The fact that he was able to dodge this cut block and make the play is crazy to me. The agility and balance it takes to survive an over 300-pound man attacking your ankles and you're 330 pounds and you're able to just bounce over it and re-catch your footing and make the tackle for loss. This cut block would have took out most of the people watching this video. And Tim Settle is 330 pounds sitting here making this play. And also, shouts out to Tim Settle for surviving that mean spin move that quarterback almost put on him. If he didn't try to wrap him up, that would have been an easy spin move right out of the tackle. So shouts out to Tim Settle for getting his arms wrapped around him and making sure he brings him down. This type of agility is hard to teach, especially for somebody his size. It's almost like you have it or you don't. You can improve footwork, But agility is a whole nother thing here. Running cone drills all day will not save you from this, especially when you don't expect it. And just to give y'all one last angle of it, in slow motion, there was a period of time where none of Tim Settle was on the ground. He managed to recatch his balance and make the play. Great job, Tim Settle. Now, as I take a break away from the necessities of being a defensive tackle, I wanted to show y'all one of the intangibles he has. And then we're going to get right back into the attributes and necessities that a defensive lineman needs to have to be successful. But for now, we're looking at an intangible, and that's his high motor and great pursuit. Tim Settle is located right here. He gets double teamed. The players ran away from him to the outside, not his responsibility, and watch Tim Settle's hustle to come and make the play from behind. He was originally double teamed. Then he realized the quarterback was leaving. He disengaged by extending his arm right here. I appreciate that. And then he proceeded to pursue the quarterback from behind and make the play. Tim Settle is the closest defensive lineman in pursuit. Even the great Tremaine Edmonds, a linebacker, was behind Tim Settle in the pursuit. This is a great motor that he has. Keeps playing until the play is dead. I'm seeing that as a common thing amongst Redskins draft picks this year. Now, sometimes this great motor and excessive amount of energy gets him in trouble, which I'll dive into later, but I prefer for him to have too much energy and have to work on bottling it up than to not have enough energy and have to make some magically appear. Tim Settle has a lot of moldable traits that can turn him into a dominant defensive lineman. I'm very surprised he made it to the 5th round. These type of plays that Tim Settle's making right here is the stuff that people rave about when they talk about Ed Oliver. Great pursuit and high motor. Now we're back to the basics of great defensive line play. Tim Settle is located right here, and just watch this. Just watch this play. That is crazy. I gotta break it down now. Y'all gotta see what I'm talking about. First of all, typical with the theme that's going on here, look at the power in his ball get off. The blocker is lower than him, which is rare because Settle is normally the lowest. But even when he isn't, he is powerful enough to still win the line of scrimmage battle, push the blocker back, and then he finally used his violent and active hands to get the offensive lineman off of him. Just throws him like he's just a little kid. He originally rushes to the outside shoulder of the blocker, and while doing so, he's extending his arms into the blocker's chest so that he can grab him and throw him whichever way he needs to when the time comes, which he's gonna do. And as he's preparing for his next move with his hands on his chest, he's looking in the backfield to see where the ball is going. He identifies where the ball is going, throws the lineman off of him, and goes and makes the tackle. Great play. And I also want to show some of this footwork here, because right here, he's about to show some footwork that looks like a running back making a deep cut to the opposite way. It almost looked like he lost balance, but you know, the agility we've been talking about and his decent balance, it allowed him to stay up after this violent throw. But look at his legs, almost, it wasn't smooth, but it almost looked like a running back making a cut. But I also want to point out this punch and shed. He loves that move. He does that a lot. And it's very effective, as y'all can see on this clip. And I also want to note, after the shed, he did the rip move that I want. The blocker is still on him, almost has him in a headlock. So Tim Settle takes his arm, does a rip move, gets the blocker off of him completely, which allows him to make an easier tackle than the videos I've shown y'all before. He's doing a lot of impressive things in this clip, as I've previously mentioned, but I love how he's beginning to get his arm and he's chopping away at the blocker's arm so that he can completely get him off of him, which allows him to make this clean tackle. Tim Settle, this is how I want you to pass rush every time. From now on, this is how you shoot. I firmly believe that Jim Tomsula can get this type of technique out of him consistently. Even though I've showed previous clips of him not using active and violent hands, there are plenty of clips showing that he can do it, and he has it in his arsenal. He's just very inconsistent with it. And with how much faith I have in Jim Tomsula, I can definitely believe that he can get this right here out of Tim Settle consistently. Now here's another example of Tim Settle using some violent and active hands. He's located right here, and watch how he just disposes of a grown man. Look at that. First of all, great burst off the line right here. He's the first defensive lineman off the ball. He's also the furthest. Powerful punch. And then watch how he just violently throws that man off of him. Punch, shed. He loves that move. He used the power I've talked about before, and he also combined it with his violent hands, and he was there for an easy, clean tackle. The play was just ran away from him. I know Jim Tomsula is watching this film and just loving it. You made a great defensive lineman play. And you won't get credit for it on the stat sheet, but you'll definitely get credit for it here on Street Scores. Now, even though Settle is 330 pounds, don't sleep on my boy's pass rush attributes. I'm going to show y'all 3 clips and examples of how he can be a deadly pass rusher in the NFL. Starting with this one against North Carolina. Don't sleep on my boy's pass rush moves. Look at this. Look at this. And then go make the sack. Keep on dancing, Settle, and I'm going to analyze it. Tim Settle located right here. First of all, I like how he attacks his double team head on, squared up, and he keeps his head up so he can identify whether it's a rush play or a pass play. And as the guard starts to turn away and begin to help on his edge rusher, Tim Settle is diagnosing it as a pass play. He uses his active hands to get the blocker out of his way. Another punch and shed example. Look at that. Look at that punch. Throw him off, shed. And then he goes and gets the quarterback. Now on this one, Tim Settle is located right here. And look at the swim move that he has in his arsenal. Punch and shed isn't his only move. He also has a nice little swim move that he can use to get to the quarterback whenever he needs to. Look at that. So smooth. Great swim move. First of all, he does a nice little head fake outside, inside. Then he goes back inside, hits him with a smooth swim move. The only way the blocker is able to stop him from getting to the quarterback is just tackling him and taking that 10-yard penalty at this point. Blocker doesn't do that. Tim Settle has an easy run to the quarterback. Unfortunately for Tim Settle, it just so happened to be a quick go route thrown to the sideline. The ball was hiked and thrown 2 seconds later, and there's almost nothing the D lineman can do about that. This is a sack on most plays, but again, you see the traits here that I'm sure Jim Tomsula is rubbing his hands like Birdman when he's watching them. I'm surprised he doesn't use this move more often. Bully them with the power and the ball get off that you usually have, and then change it up with them with a chess match move. And instead of running straight at them with a powerful bull rush, hesitate, fake them out, swim move. Very deadly. This man is out here playing chess, not checkers, y'all. Tim Settle is located right here again. And this play is a combination of his great ball get off and the swim move. He put them both together this play, and there was nothing the blocker could do. This looks very Maurice Hurst-like. Just watch. Burst of speed, swim move. Make sure he shed him off completely. And if the play was ran his way, the ball carrier would have gotten mutilated. Now, again, this play won't show up in his highlight reel. It won't show up on the stat sheet because he didn't make a tackle. But this play is a great showing of his traits. The ball get off, the immediate swim move, and then the shed right there to finish the blocker off. Great. Love it. Put it in slow motion so y'all can see it for real. I'm going to walk y'all through it one more time. First of all, right before the ball is hiked, he moves down the line to a different gap. First defensive lineman off the ball. Further ahead than everybody else. Hits a swim move. Is already past the blocker. There's nothing much more the blocker can do. And what did I want Tim Settle to do earlier? Finish the blocker off. You're already past him, but he's hemming you up. This is practically a hold. All you got to do is get his hands off of you with a nice little rip. And that's what Tim Settle does. Pushes him away, hits him on the shoulder pad, gets him off of him, and is there for a clean tackle. Luckily for the ball carrier, the play was ran away from Tim Settle. Otherwise, he would have been gone. If Jim Tomsula can get this type of penetration and dominant pass rush out of him consistently, people are going to regret letting this man slide to the 5th round. Settle is located right here. And as I mentioned in the previous clip, he is definitely a penetration type of defensive lineman. He wants to get to the backfield. As the usual theme goes, low pad level, great ball get off. But I mainly want to point out that he's not just attacking blockers to clog up lanes or take up space. He wants to penetrate, get upfield, and disrupt the play. The play is ran slightly away from him, but because of his penetration skills and his ability to keep his head up as he's penetrating, he's able to see where the running back is going, get there, and still make the tackle. He doesn't settle for just winning the line of scrimmage battle. He's trying to get around or through the blocker or blockers in front of him so he can make a tackle for loss or a sack. He's not just there to take up space. He's 330 pounds, but he's not trying to just be a refrigerator at the line of scrimmage. Tim Settle is located right here, and here I want to show y'all his awareness and his will to make a play, because the play is ran away from him, first of all, and he's getting double teamed, and yet he's the one that makes the tackle. First of all, decent ball get off. He's squared up against a double team. He's keeping his head in the backfield. He identifies it's a running play that's running away from him. He disengages with both blockers. See the agility and footwork he has to go and get over there. And he also takes a great angle to go and make the tackle. A lot of defensive linemen would not have been involved in this tackle. But Tim Settle has the awareness, agility, and strength to get from the right shoulder of the right guard, the 3 tech, to above the 0 tech just to make a simple tackle. Even though he's getting double teamed, he does not give up much on the line of scrimmage battle. He is squared up against both of them, and those are two 300-pound men that he's fighting against, one arm each, and he is holding his own. He's not pushing them back, but he's holding his own. I like that. Now, like I always say, this wouldn't be a film session if I didn't point out the negatives. And I've already pointed out some, like his inconsistent active and violent hand usage. He has violent and active hands, but he just doesn't use them consistently. But he also has some other downsides. And one of them being, he ends up on the ground way too much. I'm just going to show y'all 2 examples, but there's plenty of clips out there. And it comes from his highly energetic play. His high energy is what allows him to get great ball get off, use his violent hands, get a powerful punch. But sometimes he lets off too much energy and he simply just falls over on his own footing. His high amount of energy can be very beneficial at times, but there are moments when he doesn't know how to consolidate it, and then he bursts off the line with no control and is easily thrown to the ground by blockers. This happens way too many times. It's almost like if he's not making a great explosive play, he's taking himself out the play. And here goes another one from the same exact game as the previous clip. This happens multiple times a game sometimes. He shows some elite ball get off, which is great for goal line situations. I mean, he's penetrating, he's pushing the blockers back, but it only matters when he's able to keep his balance. And on this play, he bursts up the offensive line, disrupts the entire play, but then he loses his balance, falls, and is unable to make the touchdown saving tackle. That blocker could not stop him for his life. That blocker couldn't do anything against Tim Settle. I know that blocker was so happy when Tim Settle fell in his own. This could have been a game-changing play right here. This would have prevented a 24-3 lead, and it would have gave him the ball back. I know the offensive lineman was like, shwoo, when Tim Settle fell down in his own. You can see the Maurice Hurst-like burst in a 60-pound heavier body. That is a nightmare to block for any offensive lineman. You just gotta stay on your feet, bruh. Oh, I got him. I got him. Oh, it's crazy because he won the battle but lost the war. You gotta stay on your feet. His balance was a difference of 7 points. Little things get magnified in football, and this could be a game-costly play right here for the Redskins if he were to fall over in a similar situation. With his size, great ball get-off, power, and ability to penetrate and move blockers back, he is a great goal line defensive lineman. Exactly what you want, besides the fact that sometimes he'll fall over like this and the running back can just walk on by. Somebody help this man. Tim Settle is located right here. Now, I've seen him win a lot of double teams or at least hold his own, like I showed y'all earlier in the clip. But when he is not set up square in front of a double team, if one of the blockers is to his side in any way, he can get pushed out of the way, or even worse, pushed straight to the ground like on this play. He can win against double teams or at least hold his own, but he is not the ultimate clog up the middle nose tackle. He is definitely more of a penetrator. I've seen him do very well with 2 gap responsibilities, but with double teams, he can win them, but that's only when he recognizes that there is going to be a double team and he's able to get squared up against them. If he is unaware of a potential double team, he tends to lose like this. On this play, the tackle comes and helps the guard double team Settle, pushes him from the side, and Tim Settle's lack of balance just sends him tumbling on over. There's no lack of power here at all. It's just a lack of awareness for the double team and the inability to keep his balance when he's getting pushed from a different direction rather than in front of him. If he would have recognized that this tackle was coming over to double team him, I'm pretty sure he would have been able to at least hold his own, or at the very least not fall. So we got to improve on this, Tim Settle. You got to learn how to recognize double teams. You got to learn how to get squared up against them. And you have to be consistent with it. I've seen flashes of him winning against double teams, but I've seen too many of these clips right here also. Now, to end in summary, positives. Amazing ball get off. If he's not the first defensive lineman to jump out of his stance, he's one of the first. When he's lined up in the gap, it is very hard for a lineman to actually even have a fair chance at blocking them, especially a center. He often just bursts by centers who can barely even get a hand on the front of his body, and his ball get off isn't just quick, but it's powerful, which allows him to get offensive linemen on their heels, or he is able to shoot through a gap. He is so powerful that he wins neutral zone battles even when he gets off the ball late, which he rarely does. He keeps his eyes in the backfield so he can identify whether plays are run or passes, and then he attacks the offense accordingly. He has violent and active hands at times. His go-to punch and shed move is pretty deadly. He has a high motor and does not stop moving until the play is dead, often pursuing plays that are away and past him. He has a lot of energy. Jim Tomsula can make sure that energy is used as efficiently as possible and not out of control. He has above average agility for a defensive lineman and great agility for somebody at 330 pounds. He has a lot of pass rush traits, and when he is not able to get to the quarterback, he has the awareness to jump up and attempt to bat the ball down. Now, he's not good at it because he is rarely successful at it, but at least the traits are there and he attempts to bat the ball down. Now, the negatives. Gotta watch the weight. Trips over himself a lot, losing his footing a lot. His high energy and motor that can be a positive also gets him in trouble when it's misused and he falls over. Needs to improve hand usage consistency, but I'm not worried about that because Jim Tomsula will coach that right up with them boxing techniques and training that he has them trench monsters doing. Plus, he's shown an array of moves. He's not a one-trick pony at all, but he can definitely use some polishing, some learning of when to use which move, and some drilling of some consistency. Also, he's not the best clogger or double team either. He has the power to do so, but finds himself off balance when he is not aware of the double team is coming and is not squared up ready to battle it. Now my projection. Even though he's 330 pounds, nose tackle seems a little too much for him to handle in the NFL. He has the power, size, and ball get off to handle doubles, but with his great burst, penetration, and pass rush traits, he will be way more useful and deadly at defensive end in 3-4 base or defensive tackle and nickel. He is not great with double teams. He is not the space clogger you would think he would be at that size. He's powerful, but he does not handle double teams well consistently. But at end and tackle, he can dominate in one-on-ones, be used in stunts with his rare agility, and in third and long pass situations with his disruptive assets. And don't sleep on his run stopping. His ability to manhandle blockers and his high awareness allow him to wonderfully handle two gap responsibilities and attack run lanes. He is definitely going to make the 53-man roster, that's without a doubt. He has too many traits, too much potential. With his versatility, and if he is able to keep his weight down, and possibly even lose some more weight, I expect him to get more snaps than probably the majority of the crowd. I'm excited about his potential. Him, Anthony Lanier, and Jonathan Allen are currently our best pass rushing defensive linemen, and that is always very useful. I know Tim Settle will be a vital part in the Redskins' 180 of a defensive line this season, going from one of the worst statistically due to injuries to one of the most consistent and dominant. From the starters to the rotation pieces, the Redskins have some disruptive and smart defensive linemen. When Payne and Allen rotate out the rest, Settle and Ioannidis, who was having a secretly dominant year last year before Allen got hurt, will rotate in, and the defensive line will not have lost a step at all. Settle will be utilized in goal line situations for his burst and power, third and longs for his pass rush attributes, and second and shorts for his two gap capabilities. I'm excited for his development. Possibly my newest favorite film session breakdown. So versatile. Maybe Tomsula can work on his balance and turn him into the dominant nose tackle we've needed for years, but as of right now, let that man two gap and rush the passer. Y'all won't regret it, Redskins. And as always, make sure y'all Dolomite fake punch that like button. Favorite this video if you loved it. Subscribe if you love the videos. I'll subscribe back. This is the Tim Settle film session. I think this is my new favorite that I've done so far. Very fun to watch. And next is the Troy Apke safety out of Penn State film session. I'm gonna get that to y'all as soon as I can. Catch y'all later. I'm out.